What's up everyone, Speedy here. In today's 1v1 video, we're going to be doing 2 live games as well as 1 replay review. So let's get right into it. Okay, so here we are in game number 1. So kind of similar to last video. My goal is to try to be consistent about how much I'm using boost. Not great coverage. And he gets that boost, that's annoying. Pretty brain dead challenge. Oh, good though. I was gonna go that. Play off the mistake. And there we go. Not the best touch. Honestly, that touch was like a very micro mistake right there. But once the opponent like commits to that, one, I still have control of it. That's their mistake. Nice. Perfect kickoff. Nonsense. Be aggro. Let him be aggro. Gonna get them scored on. You see how, like, it's not a productive touch. There's literally no value of them making that touch because it's not a position that they can actually follow through with the challenge and they get a poor recovery. So respect that they're gonna go for that. And, like, here, respect they're gonna make it to that boost. It's a good challenge here. It just forces them awkward. Fine if he doesn't concede. Nice. I faked for the corner boost there. That's just a perfect play. Textbook, man. That's just textbook. It's just playing for the opponent's spacing, and the opponent gets, like, they fuck up their momentum, and at that point you just get a free shot. Nice, that was perfectly played. All right. Sweaty game, but I feel really good. Played a pretty rough warm-up game against a proper grand champ. Okay, dude, I'm just playing this game perfectly though. That's insane. That I had a really tough warm-up game, and it seems to be that it prepared me well. Opponent played that well. Honestly, that was really good patience from them. They just stayed patient there the whole time. I'll get though. I'll go for a fake here. Take it back to my corner. Here, they'll have to make the touch here. Let the opponent come to me. That stuff goes in. That's... By the way, Brazil! Just gonna get that boost, so I can't really comfortably turn for that. That's fine if they get a good shot of that. Also fine if they early shot that. They have to finally leave. Oh, they keep getting possession, but they're not doing anything with it. Good game. Here we are in game number 2. And similar to game 1, just focusing on... Okay, opponent controls the kickoff. Fair. Just focusing on making sure I'm using boost correctly and also efficiently. So it also includes kickoffs. I think a lot of people end up using too much boost on a kickoff. So like, pay attention to like how much I'm saving here. No. I'm so sad I saved that. Not a great shot, but just puts pressure on the opponent. Careful about committing. He's gonna boom. Nice, good control. It's fine. Do concede possession, but all good. I'm gonna put another shot on there. That's gonna be hard for him to save. Nice. Good pressure there. Yeah, definitely tough games today. I had a game off recording in between the first and second game that was really unfortunate. I was just making certain mental mistakes that honestly didn't feel like it was appropriate. Okay, that's a huge mistake, dude. Here, just control. Don't flip. Whatever you do, here, just control touch, and then take your time, especially when your opponent's like boomer balled the heck out of that. That's honestly, if I didn't miss that boost, that would have been fine, but that was poor placement. Honestly, a really poor play. Perfect shot. Here's a bit of boost. Ball, full challenge. Challenge doesn't do anything. It actually makes it easier for me because I bring it to a safe spot. And that's why. Dude. Okay, that counterplay is actually insane. The dodging of the bump and then just the whole setup there. That was nice. That's nice. Not bad. Another, oh my gosh, dude, I'm getting really nice with those. Let's go. That's nice. You gotta hit those when you can. Kind of too much of a delay. I wanted to try to get a dash there. I just couldn't really get there in time. Like, I think it's just slightly too long in the air. Dude, that's a fucking brutal shot to try to cover because he's putting pressure on one side. I couldn't get a position that would work for that pad. Yeah, he just had an easy read. And you go. You're fucking insane, dude. You're insane. Wow, bro. Okay. Rewarded on the completely insane play. Fair enough. I respect it. It's fucking kickoff simulator, dude. Holy shit, man. That's insane. How did that work? How did that work? Shortcut that pad. Didn't get that. Unfortunately, gonna for that. I don't know when I double jump there, but the double jump works. that just goes in. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I did not mean to double jump there. I single tapped it, and apparently I double tapped it. I don't know if that was a personal input error, but... But it keeps going for bombs, honestly. He's just not putting himself in a good position. Don't even have to use boost, honestly. There's 30 seconds left. Speedy. Don't stop in the middle of their corner like that. That was a brain dead moment there. Trying to give him a win? Really, Speedy? I understand the aggression, trying to keep him in the corner, but that's the second time in a row we're committed to a corner. Made that closer than it should have been. Should have been 8-5 and call it there. Not obviously the greatest ending, but that's fine. Still decently played. Okay, so here we are in the replay portion of the video, and you are going to see, and I kid you not, the fucking worst first half of a game I've ever played. Ever. But bear through it. We're gonna try to learn through it. And I think it's going to be hopefully entertaining and also educational, because not every game is perfect. I know on YouTube and content creation in general, it's easy to try to cherry pick the best games, and that's natural as a content creator. You want to put out your best. But there's times where sometimes it's important to learn. You know, it's important to sit down and really think like, okay, what can I learn from this game? Win or loss. You know, good game or bad game. You can lose and have a good game still. You can win and still play a bad game. So let's learn. Don't have to touch that here. Here in this situation, but it makes it play. I don't mind the boost grabs here, but I'm cutting in too early. What I need to be doing is staying a little bit more center line here along the center lane and just simply look left with the camera and see where the opponent is. Because what can happen is, like, if I'm coming up this way and I see the opponent's like this, I can come up with direction with where essentially the ball is going to bounce to, and I have a playable position. And I can also focus on the challenge, because if the opponent goes here, I can play off their challenge, I can flick it over them, I'll have a better play to work with, and I have direction and momentum in this direction, not across. Because it's a cross, I'm not able to follow up control, and I lose the 50, which immediately from this 50 results in a goal. So again, there's a lot of moments here that result in those goals. Unfortunately, just don't get a connection with the ball there. It's all good. Again, worst start to a game ever. I'm not gonna lie, I was really close to just forfeiting, but I said to myself mentally, I said, come on, fuck it, just go. You know, I just said, go, just try. You know, just try that extra bit, because I had a really, really bad start. And when you're fucking down 7 goals to nothing, oftentimes you just leave. But for some reason in this moment, especially once I got further along, I just said, you know what? Let's try to get something out of it. And that was when I started to come back. I started to play pretty well. As a really nice save, though. Unfortunately, I get a really good reset. I overcommit here, and the opponent should have scored this. He does score soon after this, but yeah. So mentally, I was kind of annoyed as well. Once I didn't get the reset goal, I was kind of annoyed. I was like, all right, that's a rare thing. It's not something I get often, is that perfect of a reset. This is really bad. I didn't have to rush this play here. I typically have a habit of pre-jumping and pre-flipping into plays like this. This is okay to do if the ball is further forward and you could then pinch it forward. It's not good to do if you're going to end up on the side of it like this. You see how I'm already on the side of the ball? I'm coming across it too early, and what's happening is now it becomes hard for me to kind of cover, and the opponent has a free shot. 6 or 7 times in a row, the opponent got a free open net because I made a bad play. Because I didn't make the adjustment, and I got pissed off. And you'll see more of that happening. Opponent does a good job grabbing the boost. This is fine. Honestly, there's not much you could do once you lose that possession on kickoff. This is good, though. I like that I'm grabbing these boosts. This is smart. Just trying to be patient here. Opponent does a good job of monitoring the pacing here, staying with momentum. I do a bad job of turning around and play. This, again, should have gotten me scored on right away. Unfortunately, missed the boost pad there. Again, boost management, not the best in this moment. I do a good job here, grabbing this. But this separation, honestly, what I could have done is just immediately got set up for a backflip challenge and then bang it as hard backwards as possible, and that would have popped the ball behind him. Even if he demos me, the ball's going towards his side, and that gives me time to respawn and get set up for another play that's safer and higher percentage. Unfortunately, just put myself a little bit to the right. I kind of hesitated for a moment. I was trying to basically shortcut it and just played it a little too tight. I remember in this moment, I knew I made the right play, but I did it the wrong way. So the right play in this case was the single jump 50. But the problem is that the way I went about the single jump 50 is I was facing this way into an opponent that's already facing this way, and the ball's naturally, when he flips that way, is going to pull the ball that way. That's why the ball went the way it did. And so let's watch it back and kind of pay attention. So it's fine here. Not the best touch, but setting up for 50, but you see how I naturally turned right like that? So I start going like that, even though a single jump itself is okay, but it's the fact that the way I'm positioning both from the single jump, but even before the single jump, but it's actually on its own, isolating the mechanic, a single jump would be a safe way to go about this. It's just the way I did it was not good in the least bit. That's the first tilt goal. That's the first goal I started getting tilted at. Like proper tilt, like tilted. Really annoyed. Didn't really get power there. That's just because I kind of flipped with the side. Didn't mean to get a double touch there and just gave too much space. Like here, didn't mean to get this right here. I was trying to like curve dash there. Again, sometimes it's just a matter of trying too hard, putting too many mechanics or too many inputs in, and sometimes just playing a little rushed. And when you play a little rushed mentally, you make those mistakes. So that's something to make an adjustment with. And there, it's about spacing as well. Just too much space on this position. Like you see how much space there is. He has like full space to challenge and then go for a shot. Opponent played a good game. He played an on-point game until I started like really putting pressure on, and then he started crumbling immediately. And I started getting goals after goals after goals, as you'll see. And then I make a mistake that causes to go 8-4. If I didn't make that mistake, it would have been potentially like 7-5. And then really bad challenge. Don't challenge here. It was a really shitty challenge. For two reasons. One, it's too obvious. The opponent's going to obviously flick here. What you want to do is fake challenge early. So the point you want to like set your fake challenge up is like you want to pay attention to like the opponent's going to naturally set up here. Try to fake challenge around this pad right here. You see how like I go here and then I'm committing. If I just simply, instead of getting this pad and going right, I just naturally go left here and then go left and then shadow. That's a much safer play to work with. It also puts me in a position where I can then cover out to in and then push the ball across into safe space. That is one method to do it. It just becomes a lot safer instead of what I did there, which was of course very much the incorrect play. Again, like I said, it can be instructional. You guys make these mistakes too. I make this mistake. We all make these mistakes. It's a natural part of Rocket League. But it's how you do something with this mistake. What do you do to improve? Are you just going to naturally continue making the same mistake over and over again and just not make an adjustment? And just leave it up to saying, oh, unlucky, or oh, that was bad, or whatever. He got a lucky play, right? Or that's bullshit, you know, the game lagged. You know, we can come up with all these excuses, but what is the one common denominator in every single game you play? And in the question I just asked you, I gave you the direct answer. It's you. It's you, the player. You are the one that have the full control to be able to make those adjustments, just like I have the control to be able to make the adjustments every game. Every game is winnable. Doesn't matter if you're going against the best of the best. The percentages continues to get lower and lower as you go against better players, but look for learning opportunities. When you win, it's not winning a game, it's winning the interactions. If you could win the interactions, if you can win little moments where you can win a challenge, you can make a better play, you can make those little adjustments and then make those adjustments better than your opponent and be more adaptable, that's winning. It's not just the scoreboard where you win, it's mentally right here where you learn to win. And that's an adjustment you have to learn to make if you're going to improve. By the way, this is a fucking terrible touch. Do not do what I did. From my perspective, this is absolutely god-awful. Do not rush this play. It's just not the play to make. It's just incorrect. It puts me into a very committal position with no recovery. Doesn't matter how fast I try to play off the boost pad. This does not matter. It was a garbage play. Don't do this. And the reason it's a garbage play isn't just the outcome. So, watching the position here, look how I shortcut my own rotation, right? So think about like percentages. What's the percentage of like outcome that I'm going to be able to cover this if this play doesn't go well based off where I am? And think about that position, right? Doesn't really seem high percentage when you actually look at it, right? Because you're shortcutting the position here, you're going really narrow to the play, and you do not give yourself options. You're forcing yourself into a very congested path here in terms of rotation. Is this path from where the ball is to like where you see that center of Rocket League right here. There's your arc of movement. It's very narrow, right? If I came in a little wider, even if the opponent had some momentum, came in a touch wider and recognized that I could just simply get control touching or play it up the wall while the opponent does not have momentum, I can play it over them. That's an option. That's a possibility. That's higher percentage. Many things are higher percentage than what I did here, but do not shortcut your own rotation and then bang the ball across like this, because your opponent is exactly essentially your opponent is exactly going to just watch and just take the free goal just like this guy did. Because why would you not? Of course you would. You would just take the free goal. That's the sensible thing to do in this place. Again, just a really, really bad play. And most of the bad plays I made this game were right in this first half. Actually, the vast majority, I made a couple mistakes later on. Opponent just gets a very annoying challenge that just instantly is there, and I can't get there in time, unfortunately. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a split second where I just kind of let my controller go at the end for a moment. I needed to mentally reset. I was like getting really annoyed, and I was like, okay, you know what? I need to try something different. Whatever I'm doing, clearly it's not fucking working. And try it. So this is the first time all game that I actually took the time to mentally control the pace. And even something as goofy and bad looking as that, against better players, against grand champions, this guy probably was like C2, C3, I assume. Didn't say. And he didn't have a GC tag like most GCs tend to put on themselves. So also, this is a good shot here. Just good patience here. Just immediate, just dump pressure on the opponent. And just like that, I go from 0 to 7 to 2 to 7, and I just start applying immediate pressure. I just get on the gas, and I just start grabbing gears. I just get going. And that's what you want. Unfortunately, get bumped here. It's a bit tilting there. Just that's a hard position to find yourself in. It's a good save. Good boost grab here. But it's naturally, again, gonna be aggressive. Here I can grab this boost. And opponent is playing over aggressive. They want to flip too much. Let them flip too much. Respect that they're gonna go for that, and then with the free goal. Again, start getting the free goals that they're gonna give you, because you gave them plenty at this point. You gave them like 6 or 7 fucking free goals. This game should not be anything close to as far ahead for the opponent as it was. But that's life. That's part of the game. You're gonna make mistakes. I don't mind I went for that. It's aggressive being like considering I'm down 4, but it's understandable. That's fine. Also, that's fine. Nice. And that does become a pretty good bump play. So again, like, I'm down by 3. I was down by 7. I was about to leave the game, and I decided to stay and just say, fuck it, I'm going to just try something different. Here, I actually honestly should have just bumped the opponent. The higher percentage play would have just been a bump. Just like absolutely throw myself into the opponent, bash him into the side wall, and then immediately recover front, try to shoot like immediately after that and get a shot. That would have honestly put it potentially 5 to 7. That was a positional mistake, or a decisional, essentially decision-making mistake there. Just gave the opponent the mental space that I shouldn't have. That's just too obvious for a bump play. It's not really a good enough bump setup here. It's telegraphed and it's slow. Hesitation right here, this is what gets me scored on. Just putting myself under the ball there, and just was a really shitty play. It's a second mistake right there. This play wouldn't have happened if it weren't for this kind of earlier setup here as well. So recognize when some of those mistakes happen and when some of those like reasons for getting scored on happen. It's not just the outcome that you see initially, it's what comes up well before that. So try to pay attention to those. Those things are really important, especially when it comes to your games. Here, I like this. This play was really nice. Just take time, get a back flip flick. Very, very useful. Even in high level, they could be very useful. And I make this like a 5 to 8 game. Like, there's times where I like looking at it right now, I wish I could have this game back. You know, but at the same time, it was necessary I lost because I deserved to lose. Not in a bad or toxic way or self-toxic way, but just generally, especially that first half, I didn't earn the win, you know. And as a competitor, you have to learn to recognize when you lose and when you win that you need to find improvable moments from that. And so, like, in this game, there were plenty of improvable moments, and that's why I'm calling them out. I'm calling them out a little harshly, but also as fair as I can. I tried to be my own self-critic in that sense. That's how you become a better coach and better player, is you recognize mistakes. You have to be careful about booming it away. I understand the reason, because mentally there's not a lot of time left, but the opponent's going to have an easy time just booming it back and then also putting pressure like that. So not really ideal. Thought the opponent was good to go there. Opponent does a good job, like, not really going. That was another open net. Opponent does a good job bumping me. I'm pretty awkward there, and there's just nothing really I could do there. And at that point, 30 seconds left. As you'll see, nothing really else happens in the game. Try to get another shot on it. Unfortunately, can't really get it connecting. That's fine. Again, it's all good. I give it an honest try, and that's really all I can ask for at this point. And like, I'm in a difficult rank too. This is Diamond 2 Div 4. You know, between the wins and losses on and off camera, it's not easy. It's not. I'm going against like the average, like average C2 plus, and that's where I'm at skill level, so it makes sense. You know, in the 3 years since I started playing, you know, that's how quickly I've kind of come up, especially like not having been a ones main originally. And that's the nature of this game, is, you know, everybody improves at their own rate. And one of the things I will say is try to have some self-compassion with it. You know, recognize that this is a tough moment. This is a tough situation to find yourself in as a player, that you're going to lose games. You're going to play good games, and you're going to play really rough games early on, and you can still win that game. There were definitely moments where literally I could have just made those fine adjustments, and I could have very well come back in that game and actually potentially won. Did it happen? Was that the outcome? No. But is that a possibility? Was that a possibility? You're absolutely right, it was. So try to keep your mental consistent with this particular type of style of learning. Try to, at least once a week, if you can, make it a habit to go back through your replays. Find a game that you're playing that you really need to work on, that you feel certain mistakes well up, certain bad habits, certain things you need to call out or recognize, or even certain good things you're doing really well, and you just want to reinforce that. Go over that and learn those things, because those are optimal moments. Those are moments where it's fresh and it's in your mind, and it's something that is salient to you, that you can make those improvements because you're recognizing in the moment that is important. And when you focus on that early on, that focus early on is going to drive you to faster improvement, especially compared to people that are just simply grinding the game or playing a bunch of ranked. You can play ranked, but if you play ranked with purpose, and you play with purpose, and you practice with purpose, you will improve much faster. If you would like me to review your games, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed watching this video, I'd like to ask you to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Speedy Man out.